Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing Krampus, who's the anti-Santa who eats kids coming out of chimneys and stuff. It's pretty cool. This is also a collaboration with the one and only Hanz, who also did Krampus, so I'm going to have her link down below. She's amazing, and you definitely should go subscribe to her and watch her video. But jumping right into the tutorial, I am starting off with a reference image that I found on Google of Krampus, and he's this little cutie right here who ate that guy's ogre's head. I'm taking Mayron's Paradise paint in white, which is a water-activated face paint. I'm taking Sigma's 3D HD brush, which is great for just getting underneath the eyes, and I'm just doing a real quick base over my entire face. You guys have seen me do it 1,000 times, so I took it out for the sake of time. I'm going in with a beauty blender now, and that same white face paint. And I'm applying a very bright, opaque highlight underneath my eye to contrast the grungy, little less opaque surface that I put on the skin to make it more grungy, since it is like a demon. I wanted to make him so rough. Now I'm taking this eyeshadow by Anastasia, and I'm going to apply it in my contour areas to enhance the highlighted triangle that I place on the front of the face. I'm using any skin tone color. Any eyeshadow will do. You really aren't going to be able to see this. I like to just be able to see the movement and the shape of my face as I continue on with the makeup, because I am just winging it, so I kind of want to think about where placement and stuff goes. I'm taking an angled brush by Sigma. I believe it's the I'm not sure. I'll have it linked down below. It's my favorite Sigma brush ever because it gives you the straightest lines in the world. And I'm applying the raised forehead mark. So I want to give him an angry expression without me having to actually make one with my face. So I'm creating these various straight lines across my forehead that are going to represent raised skin. How I like to do detail work on my face when face painting is I'd like to start with a highlight, then go with the midtones, and then add the shadows to really bring out the illusion. So that's what I'm doing here. So now I'm adding the highlight marks, which is again where I want all of that raised skin to be, and I'm carrying that from my forehead down my nose, and I'm wrinkling up my face to see where naturally I would get those expression lines when I would make a more angry face. And you can kind of use your own face as a guideline, as well as adding details that you wish were there if they're not. And then I'm also adding some on the sides of my nose to raise that part of my face as well. Now I'm going to magically come on with half my face done. Ta-da! Yep, I did this all off camera because I didn't know what I was doing. So I'm taking the color Stone by Anastasia, and I'm going to apply that on the left and right side of that raised highlighted mark. This is our midtones now. So first we started off with our highlights, now we're doing midtones. I'm feathering that on both ends of the highlighted raised skin, and that's going to give the illusion that it's raised off of the skin when it really is not. So I'm going to do that to all of the lines that I created on my face, starting with the forehead, then going down into the middle of my head. And now I'm taking Noir by Anastasia, and just on one side, and I'm doing it on the right side of the highlight marks on my forehead here now, I'm going to add a little bit of black, and that's going to add maximum depth, and that's really what you want, and that's really going to give you the illusion and sell that these wrinkle marks are raised above the forehead. You feel me, sister? Okay, good. I'm also taking just that same black, and I'm shading in a little bit around the brow areas around my nose. I'm adding a little bit of eyeshadow to my eyebrow and then extending it out, and this is kind of acting as a divide from my forehead to my temple, so my forehead looks raised above the rest of my face to give a nice little illusion of depth again. Bam, hopefully it looks something like that. Now I'm taking Noir by Anastasia again, which is a black eyeshadow, and I'm blending out my eyebrow into my eyeball. Basically what I'm doing this on the inner and outer corner to give the illusion that my eye has more depth than it actually does, but I'm also trying to conceal my eyebrows with eyeshadow. I didn't want to glue them down, so I'm using a dark eyeshadow to cover the actual textured hair marks of my hair, so it just looks like a hollowed eye socket. I tend to do that a lot in makeup, so I kind of make the eyes work, and I kind of use a lot of shadows and shading to hide my eyebrows. And then the leftover product on my blending brush, I am just going to put underneath my eye on the outer corner only. You feel me? Cool. So hopefully your eyes are even. Make sure to check for symmetry. I'm putting my contacts in now because I'm a huge crybaby, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't cry out any detail work, so I'm doing that now before any craziness goes on underneath the eye. I'm just going to shade around the nostrils now, going straight in with a black, and then I'm going to fade it out with Stone by Anastasia, just straight up. This brush wasn't really working too much, so I'm grabbing I believe it's an EO6, I'm not exactly sure, but it's a tiny blending brush from Sigma, and I think it's a special effects makeup artist's must, because it's so tiny. But I'm blending up the shadow up my nose to act also as a nose contour. So 2 birds, 1 stone, hello. And now I'm making my nostril a little bit bigger by just creating some simple rounded lines and then darkening those bad boys up to give the illusion that my nose is a little bit of a less human shape. You can see here that I'm building up all my colors and I'm layering. Layering is very important when you're creating false depth on a flat surface. So definitely use a lot of transition shades and darker shadows. I'm going in with Mehron's metallic powder and their mixing liquid to create liquid gold, and I'm applying it with this pointed Q-tip that I got in Sephora, which you guys might recognize from my celebrity makeup artists kit musts, because this is a must. But I'm putting that on that earbud, and I'm applying it to my under eye area because it creates this nice, really opaque, shimmery, shiny liquid gold. And I do have horns for this makeup look, and I added a lot of gold in there because I was thinking Christmas and gold, that those are kind of two besties, so I wanted to add a little bit of a gold accent. Now I'm going in with my teeth, and I'm using that same angled brush, which is my favorite from Sigma, and I'm applying those all across my mouth. And I don't want you guys to think that these teeth are so straight and sharp because I just have an incredible technique. It's not my technique at all. It's really this angled brush. I'll have it linked down below if you guys want to pick it up, but definitely don't be discouraged with techniques because tools are very important, but this is my favorite angled brush in the entire world. I'm doing this on the top and bottom. You kind of want to get a rough idea of what you want your teeth shape to be, but it doesn't have to be perfect right away because we're going to be going in with that black anyway to kind of define. I'm using that white face paint now to kind of etch out the mouth area. Since I did two halves, so I didn't know what I was doing, do this all at once, the entire mouth section, not just left side, right side. I'm going in with this face paint in the shade red, and I'm going to start creating those tendons or those muscle marks that connect from the top and bottom of his open mouth. Again, I am using that reference image I found on Google, so that is a really nice reference to really keep yourself focused and know what place, what, where, and what, who's, wow. So I'm just creating these rectangle-inspired shapes around my mouth. And this is actually a really great step to not get too lost, because you guys can see I made it too thin, so now I'm making it a little bit bigger. These things aren't permanent. You guys get to really play with the shape, which is really great. Now I'm just going to fill those two bad boys in. And then I decided to make a third one in the back of my mouth because I feel like it wasn't enough and there was too much blank space. So I'm just filling these two bad boys in, and then I'm going to move over and grab a third one. There's really no technique to this other than filling it in. Now I'm taking that red and I'm extending it all the way around that mouth just to create a false gum. And then I'm going to pull that in between each of my top teeth. This is another opportunity to really shape these teeth into a better, more clean final shape. Ta-da! Now I'm going in with black face paint, also by Mehron, and I'm going to fill in the negative spaces. Since these tendons are on the surface, we want to add shadow around them so that they look more three-dimensional and they're popping out of the mouth. So we're creating false depth here just by adding a little bit of black. We're going to go in and blend everything together so it's not going to stay, black spiky line, red spiky line. But now I'm going in between the white teeth and I'm filling in the negative space in the middle of the mouth. I want this illusion to look like his mouth is open when my mouth is actually closed. So we want to add black down here and fade it across the bottom lip so it looks as the negative space and you can't see my actual human lips underneath. So this is definitely the time now to fix and perfect your teeth exactly how you want them. And don't worry, you can go back in with more white if you accidentally cover up a tooth. Don't be discouraged. Bam, hopefully it looks like that. Now I'm taking a little bit of red face paint and I'm going over that black, and that's going to blend the red and the black line together, and I'm doing that variously around the teeth gum areas, but I'm staying away from the tendon areas. We're going to go on to that next. Now with a white face paint and that same angled brush, I'm going to be highlighting the outside and inside of each individual tendon. As you can see now that the face paint is applying patchy and too thick. So I'm going to keep that there, and now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to keep drawing over that line over and over until the white paint starts to blend into the red paint and gives us a more subtle, more natural looking highlight. That's exactly what you want. You might find that when you apply the paint right on, you're like, whoa, this doesn't look right. But you just have to keep working it on top of that red or whatever color you're working with until it starts to blend in. And that's really playing with textures and consistencies of face paint to really get them to do what you want. So I'm just going to keep applying that all over my face. I'm doing a little bit on the inside too, just to add a little bit more tendon marks and to really give the illusion of muscle. Now I'm going in with a little bit of black face paint. I made sure to dust off most of the product on the back of my hand so it applies isn't more gray, and I'm doing shading in between and next to these white lines and then adding a little bit more highlight marks too, and that's going to really give you a nice three-dimensional gum muscle shape. It's really easy once you deconstruct it, is kind of just playing with different consistencies and different products and seeing what works. And now with that black, I'm rimming the entire negative mouth area just to really separate it from the white face. You feel me? And I'm taking this time too to blend it in a little bit into the gum so it's not a black line sitting right on top of a red line. And now I'm going in between each individual tooth and I'm blending the marriage between the red and the black. Now I'm going in with Beachberry by Mayron, which is a little bit of a brighter red. I'm dusting off almost all of the product on the back of my hand, and I'm going in with a very light amount around the mouth. Now what we're doing is creating fake blood, and I didn't want to use actual fake blood because it would give a little bit too of a wet feel, and it would be too shiny, and it would look too much like actual blood. I wanted to go with a little bit more of a cartoony blood, so I'm adding a little bit of red face paint around the rim of the mouth, and then we're going to go in now with white face paint, and we're going to go right on top of that, blending it in with my finger, and that's going to start giving you a little bit of a more pinky tone, and it's going to look like a little bit of blood stained around the mouth. Not fresh blood, we're going for a little bit more of aged blood. You know, like the vampires from Blade, like how they have that pinky mouth because they just be eating blood all the time? Anyway, so now I'm going out with a couple various highlight marks around the rim of, like, I would call this the lip. So we want to make that lip look like it's sitting above the mouth. So a highlight right on the rim of that with a shadow right underneath it is going to give you a nice three-dimensional illusion that these lips are hanging over the mouth. You feel me? So I'm just doing that variously around the mouth. And you guys, now that I have a little bit of time, I shaved for this video. I never shaved. Like a baby. Anyway, now I'm going with the stippling sponge that I got from Mayron, and it's great for texture. I'm taking a very small amount of black face paint, and I'm putting that all around the white spaces, so I look a little bit more dirty, I look a little bit more evil, and it really just, to me, I love texture, and it really sells as more of a finished makeup when I do this technique. And now I'm going in with the same thing, and I'm doing it around the temples, but I'm also using it to contour around the jawline as well. And then taking a little bit more of that same gold paint that we used for the under eye, and I'm going to put that around the temples just to add a little bit of gold into the face. And then I'm adding now more black face paint on top of that, so the gold is kind of sitting underneath, and the very top layer of makeup is black, and the gold kind of is broken up in between. I'm taking the time now to black out my ears because you don't want to see them. You guys could go with elf ears because the pictures I did see have elf ears, but I didn't have any tape or elf ears. And then the very last step, I'm just contouring around the sides of the mouth because you're going to look a little too round when you do these fake mouths because it's really, you really can't see the hollows of your cheeks anymore. So definitely throwing in a little bit of contour by the sides of the ears is going to make you not look like a bowling ball with these crazy teeth. But that's a finished tutorial, my friends, and I really hope that you guys liked it. And definitely subscribe to me here on YouTube and follow me on social media to stay up to date with more videos. And definitely go check out Jordan Hanz. She is an incredible artist, and her video is thebomb.com. But I love you guys so much, and I really hope you guys learned something new. If I didn't just say that twice, I might have. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, friends. Oh my god, my horns. Stupid hair.